I don't look very good because I need to take a shower. So sorry about that. Ignore any weird noises you may hear. It's just my cat being weird. Hello. Yeah, I've been thinking for a while. I've been wondering for a while if maybe my cognitive issues have something to do with depression. Just because I definitely have some of that. Like, usually my depression isn't severe and it doesn't always manifest as like a very low mood, like sadness, like what people typically think of as depression. It's more like just like a really strong desire to withdraw and want like zero stimulation whatsoever. I will kind of wish that I'm just like sitting at the bottom of a hole in the ground and there's no light and no sound and nobody else around me. That's kind of how I feel. And I like, not all the time, sometimes. And it kind of seems to me like that's depression because sometimes there's low mood and like other symptoms like that. But so like, I kind of thought maybe my cognitive issues were connected to that because all this kind of mental cognitive stuff with me seems to be connected. Physical too, to an extent, because my depressive symptoms are definitely the worst, like right before I get my period. There's like some premenstrual issues and I've got like the hormonal acne and stuff. So there's all sorts of crap going on, like who knows. But I learned something about depression recently and it made me really mad that the sort of like popular level understanding of depression and a lot of these like mental issues, disorders, whatever you want to call them, is just so incomplete. So, you know, most people, like I said, kind of think of depression as like being very, very sad. And that's a part of it, but it's like, that's just one aspect of an overall like depression. Like it's the right word. Depression is the right word. An overall depression in just your functioning. It's like you'll feel so fatigued and all of like your mood, it's not just sadness, but you know, often like just like I don't know, it's like everything is being depressed in your functioning. Not just your mood being low, but like everything. And that can include cognition. And what I learned recently, like I kind of knew that. I kind of knew that like brain fog and stuff like that could go along with depression, but I learned that cognitive symptoms are very, very common in depression, and people with severe depression, it can be so bad that they actually call it pseudo dementia, and that this can be a problem when an elderly person becomes depressed, because then doctors don't know if they actually have like cognitive decline or if it's just a symptom of their depression, and people will get incorrectly diagnosed with like dementia and stuff. And I'm like, I knew that some sort of like depression was probably part of my issue, like I said. And it's not like I haven't been diagnosed with anything because, for one thing, I did talk to my doctor, I've mentioned this before, about like my cognitive issues, and she was just very dismissive of it. Which I guess kind of understandably, because I'm 40 years old, and so there's almost zero chance that I have actual like progressive cognitive decline of some sort, right? And she's like asking my kid. I think my kid was 3 at the time. She's like asking about, you know, my kid waking up. I'm like, yeah, you know, she does that. She's gotten a lot better. And she's like saying to my daughter, she's like, you gotta stay in bed, let mommy sleep, right? But I knew that the sleep issues were not the whole thing, because as my sleep has vastly improved, as my kids have gotten older, my cognitive symptoms have not like improved concurrently. Concurrently. Yeah, concurrently. I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway. So anyway, what was I saying? Right, okay, so that's one of the reasons, like I haven't been diagnosed with anything. The other thing is I am not going to take psychiatric medication for any reason, for anything, like any aspect of what's going on, unless there's absolutely no other choice. Like I've hit the point where I cannot function and I like need it to be able to continue to like care for my family or whatever. Like then I would take it. But, and no shame to anyone who takes that stuff. Like you can, if you feel like you need it, then, you know, that's fine. It's your choice. But I'm not comfortable with it. So I would only take it if absolutely necessary. And so I kind of feel like there's really no point in seeking any kind of diagnosis for any of my symptoms, because the only thing doctors really do is try to give you medication and I'm not going to take it. So there's no point. But anyway, so I have no diagnosis for like depression or anything like that. And obviously whatever I have is not so severe that I can't function, because I can. I'm still able to care for myself and my family. You know, I'm not, gosh, Moose, this is what she does. She's so weird. What was I saying? Moose, you interrupted me. How could you do that? You know that I can't think when I'm interrupted. She doesn't know. She doesn't know anything. I don't know what I was saying. I'm sorry. I apologize. But like, so whatever's all going on, I just been right. I can still function well enough, but not nearly as well as I would like to be. Like daily life, when I'm struggling cognitively and with other sort of like mental symptoms, it just makes life so much harder than it needs to be. And I know this because sometimes my symptoms are worse and sometimes they're better. And I see the difference in my functioning and how I feel and how much of a struggle everything is. So like I'm just been trying to figure this stuff out and improve it on my own, because my doctor did not seem to be interested or helpful in any way. And yeah. So I've just been trying to figure it out. And now that I've kind of come to this realization that cognitive symptoms like that can be pretty severe are a common thing with depression, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, so like I probably have that. Like if if you can say, I've kind of been, okay, I'm not going to talk about that. Skip that, go back. Okay, hold on a second. Been drinking electrolytes because I'm doing keto again, but different. I'll talk about that in a different video. But yeah, so it's like, okay, well, maybe that's just literally it. That's literally the problem. Like I've got lots of symptoms that kind of like fit into that box of depression, along with hormonal sorts of issues and symptoms, which can definitely be like causative or maybe just a contributing factor to depression, because obviously things like PMDD, you know, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and things like this, like, you know, obviously everyone knows like your period can like F you up, right? Like in all these ways. But so like all that kind of stuff can be connected, and it's like, okay, so now I kind of feel a little bit more like before it was kind of like, okay, well, I sort of have some depression, then what the hell is this cognitive stuff? Like, what is happening? This is very worrisome. Why can't I think straight? Why am I confused? You know, like, I'll have to like sort of talk about, don't drink my electrolytes, Moose. I'll have to talk about my symptoms more specifically at some point, which is really difficult. Like, it's a lot of it's hard to articulate. Where was I going with this? I can do this. I can do this. Right. So the cognitive stuff is just like, that's the biggest issue for me, that's caused and is causing the most problems and difficulties for me in my day-to-day life. And I didn't know what to think of it or like what it was. And now it's a little bit of relief to kind of realize, oh, well, it's all just in like the same box. It's all together. Like, I don't have this separate issue of like something weird going on with my brain and my memory and all of that, right? So that's kind of nice to come to that realization. And it makes sense. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm depressed. Like, yeah, I've been through some crap. Like, my baby died. Had lots of difficulties, like, transitioning into motherhood. I had difficulties with both of the living babies in different ways. And there was just a very difficult, physically and emotionally, period of like, you know, several years, with the last chunk of that including 2+ years of severe sleep deprivation. So it's like, yeah, I'm depressed. It makes sense. I really, like, maybe therapy or something like that would be really helpful, because I really still have not processed much of that. I don't know how to process all of the things that have happened in that span of time. So that could probably be helpful for me to do, but I'm so cynical. It's so hard, because it's, on the one hand, like, if I find like a good therapist or someone to talk to, it could be really, really helpful. But then I'm always just like, it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. And then the other side's like, okay, but what's probably going to actually happen is you're going to spend a bunch of money that you don't have on someone who doesn't help you at all and who actually sucks. So then I just don't do anything. So I don't know, man. But yeah, it's, I just kind of, this is a really long-winded way to say that it's very frustrating, the like popular level understanding of mental illness and how that affects how we see people dealing with mental illness and how we see these sorts of things in ourselves, you know?